Hello, Remax agents. It's Dave here. We had a great meeting today here at the office, and I know that not everybody can make it. So, when it makes sense and the topic is feasible, I'm going to continue to do little recaps of those. So, if you give me 1 second here, I'm going to go up to share my screen, and we will hopefully, here we go, go through our meeting today and just slideshow from the beginning. Here we go. So yeah, a couple of just kind of calendar announcements or save the dates. We are going to do a blood drive here at the office. If you go back a screen, you'll notice at the very bottom left there, that is our logo. And then in the logo down there at the bottom, you're going to see kind of the three words the three little sentences that I use kind of as my mantra for our companies. And that is work smarter, be kind, and give back. And those are the kind of things that kind of drive our decision-making process. I believe that all of us can work smarter, not always necessarily harder. There's a smarter way to do a lot of things. And part of that is our engagement with KV Core. KV Core is a smarter way for you to leverage the relationships you have. And then, of course, being kind, being nice to one another, is something that's kind of a non-negotiable for me because I used to believe in genuine kindness. And the other one is give back. Now, as an organization, you know that we give back every year in multiple ways. We give back through the CMN program. The office here has been a CMN champion for many years and has supported the Children's Miracle Network. Historically, we've been involved in the Habitat project for Habitat for Humanity here in Kansas City. And this year, we're also going to participate in the blood drive. If you've been watching the news at all, you may have already heard that there is a huge blood shortage in Kansas City and they need donations. And so we have decided that in conjunction with the elite office, simultaneously, each office is going to hold a blood drive. We'll get more information out on that. And please understand that that's one of those things that people have to register for because we have to tell the Red Cross how many people to expect. They have to have enough staff to support them. But we really do need your help getting the word out that we're holding this blood drive. So as we talk about KV Core, this is one of those things that you could use KV Core to communicate with your database to let them know. So if you wouldn't mind, save the date for the 19th. A few days after that are the Remax Awards celebration. You should have received your notice or email from the region about this already. You do need to register for this also. If you need help finding the email or you've accidentally deleted the email, please don't hesitate to reach out to Amanda. She can help you find a version of the email and get you registered. That's always a great time. And being right here in Overland Park this year, it's going to make it even more convenient, and which will be nice for all of us. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. Another save the date is February the 29th from 4 to 6. We're going to have a happy hour here at the office. And we'll have some cocktails, beer, wine kind of a thing, some appetizers, and just an opportunity for us to do two things. One, get together, celebrate, have a little bit of fun, laugh, drink. The other one is we're going to be inviting some of the people that are dual licensed from the Lee's Summit office to come over here and check out this place and see if they needed to use our facility here, how they would go about doing so. The following week, we're going to be doing the same thing in Lee's Summit. So if anybody would like to participate in coming over to Lee's Summit, you're more than welcome to do so. But we're also hosting, like I said, the happy hour here on the 29th. Then Recharge is coming up through Kansas City Regional Association of Realtors. They usually do a pretty good job of this. The early bird registration is only $30 for that. It's April the 8th, and that's pretty much a most of the day kind of event, but they typically have good speakers, and we'll get more information out as we get it from the Recharge folks that are putting it on the event for KCRAR. Then our wonderful friend Janelle showed up to talk to us about Warranty World, and she brought new warranty booklets and warranty cards. This year she even has, you can look, there's QR codes on them this year. They did streamline the number of coverages. I think last year there might have been 6. Now there are only 3 coverage options with additional pieces you can add, but 3 basic plans, the silver, the gold, and the platinum. And there has been a price increase, like everything in America. Warranties have gone up. We're lucky to have the very long relationship with Janelle's company. ORHP has been around for a long time, and I understand that as we represent buyers and sellers today in the crazy market that we're in, that it may not always be feasible to get a warranty. But I will tell you, just because a seller isn't paying for a warranty doesn't mean a buyer should not be given one. This is something that should be in your packet that you give to every single buyer. You should at least tell them that it's an option. If the house has some older appliances, older furnace or stuff like that, this is a real good way to help you provide value to your client versus calling them, 3 or 4 months in and finding out that their furnace is burned out. We have plenty of these are floating around the office. In addition to that, Janelle had dropped off some coupons out there for $100 free service call. So if you have clients that have a warranty and they may need a service call, there's some coupons out here to give them $100 off. Now, what we talked about was, and this kind of all ties into KV Core training that we did, was that if you were to put the people in your database and one of the multiple hashtags you gave them was ORHP, that means they have a warranty, this would be a great way for you to reach out to everybody who purchased a warranty from you in the last year, letting them know, hey, if you have a problem before you call ORHP, reach out to me and I have a free service call for you. Again, it's one more touch that you can use to get in front of your clients throughout the year. Well, like I said, we have plenty of these floating around here. If you want to come look at the new plans, if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Janelle. We in our conversations about KV Core, some of you may know, and some of you may not know, that in the world of the internet, you've seen HTTP. And then you might have noticed at times instead of a website having HTTP, it'll have HTTPS. The S stands for secure. And one of the things that is happening with your internet browsers around the world, and there is a big push for better internet security, is to have agents, to have all websites be secured, have that S on the end. A lot of times, if you are forwarding from one website to another, you will lose that secure designation. And many of you have what we call vanity website names. So maybe you've purchased daveiscool.com and you want to have, when you have daveiscool.com, go from your host, which would be GoDaddy, and actually go to your KV Core website. That is possible to do. But if you do that and you don't do a few other extra steps, then you may lose that S designation, and it may tell people, hey, you're going to a non-secure website, flags come up, and you may prevent people from going to your website. So there are two solutions if you have a vanity website and you want to ensure that people who are going to your websites don't get that error message or that security warning message. The most affordable and probably the easiest and most likely the solution that the vast majority of you would want to use is a product called True Forward that you can get through Tech Assist. Again, you don't need this unless you're using a vanity name for your website. And that costs $25 a year. So you simply reach out to Engage RE Tech Assist and tell them you would like to buy True Forward at $25, and they will help you do that. If you want a different level of that, which included a lot of SEO optimization, which the vast majority of our people do not need, but some of you, if you lean heavily into the blogging and you lean heavily into SEO keywords, you may want to take a different approach, and that is to buy through GoDaddy what we call the vanity domain option. That costs $11 a month. So again, if you have a vanity domain, you have two options: the True Forward through Tech Assist, or the vanity domain buy-in option, which has SEO optimization through KV Core. And if you need some help understanding that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I can kind of advise in one way or another, depending on what you are going to use the product for. We did talk a little bit about audits, and in particular, this piece. It came to my attention over the weekend, thank you, Chris, that some people at the office here are using a standard KCRAR exclusive right to sell contract or a standard KCRAR buyer's agency contract. The office has non-standard office versions of these documents, and we are in the process of coming up with the finalization of, through our legal team, the new version of that we will provide to you that looks very, very different than this. And I will be teaching on it soon once it's ready. But in the meantime, if you're not using the RE/MAX Stateline right to sell or the RE/MAX Stateline buyer's agency, so now you're using the standard KCRAR ones, you need to be aware of this. There's this other compensation model piece here. It's line 309 on the exclusive right to sell. It's right there in the buyer's agency also. These are not hard to find. You cannot leave that other compensation line blank. That is not one of those if left blank, then zero. If it was that way, it would say there, and it clearly does not. And so both Kansas and Missouri real estate commissions have said for years that this particular line should be filled in. And again, if it's not like you're going to lose your license tomorrow over this, but going forward, it is on our audit. We're going to be auditing for this. And then sometime in the very near future, we're going to have a standard contract for listings and buyer side that you don't have to worry about it. But in the meantime, it's there, and we need to be paying close attention to this. So please fill in that blank. And if you haven't met Heather, Heather's the new auditor. Stop by and see her. She's in the office where Jamie was sitting for a while. Heather is going to be auditing for this. We did talk a little bit about the market, what's going on in the market, and the general consensus out there is that the market's pretty darn hot. Even though it's January, it feels more like the spring market out there. We're below 5,000 units for sale. Inventory in Johnson County is even lower. And it's going to continue to feel that way for the foreseeable future. It's what we talked about last week at our sales meeting, and that was if you want to be in control of your destiny, you got to list more homes. So listers last, you've heard us say that for a long time, but that doesn't mean we're going to turn our back on our buyer community. It just means that we better be really aware of what's going on out there in the market. Now, with that, is this whole waiving inspections things that happen. And this is in your buyer templates inside of our standard template packets that we built out for you inside of Dotloop. There is this form that says, look, we've told you that you should have gotten an inspection. Even though you're waiving it, this is one more opportunity for us to tell you that. In addition to this form, this is a standard form that we have also where it says we strongly recommend that you get an inspection. Nothing can stop you from getting sued in this business. In fact, you don't have to do anything wrong to get sued as a real estate agent. But at some point, coming out on record and saying we really recommended that you got an inspection and you chose not to is a good loss prevention tool and technique for you to use as agents. Look, there's no such thing as a perfect home. Every home I've ever been in has had something wrong with it. Some of those things are minor, some of those things are major. But I think it's important that when we are in a situation like we're in again, where multiple offers and buyers are waiving inspections, that we are also managing the buyer's expectations. We need to make sure they know, look, you're going to find things wrong with this house when you move in. And honestly, you're waiving the right to complain about it based off of this. Now, we can go into the legalities of things that were disclosed and not disclosed on seller's disclosures, and probably debate that for a long time, but that's not the point of this particular training. What we want to make sure you're doing here is at least having that conversation with the buyer before they buy the home. Last week, Wendy asked me if I knew anything about the landfill in Raymore. And again, this is one of those things that if you don't ever sell, if you're not licensed in Missouri, you can ignore this. If you sell occasionally in Missouri, or in particular in the Raymore area, Raymore, Lee Summit, peculiar areas, a 5 mile radius here, then if you're not aware, you do need to be aware that there's a potential new landfill going in. I'm not sure if you can see this little tiny white square here is where the landfill is going. And it is it boundaries of like 150 Highway and Horridge Road over there, and Peterson Road is to the west of it, very close to Creekmore. Creekmore is obviously a pretty high-end neighborhood, but the radius also impacts like Raintree Lake and Lee Summit. And so our attorneys have recommended that we disclose to anybody who's buying there that there is a potential landfill going in. If you want more information on that, go to www.raymore.com/kill-the-fill. You can probably just type in Raymore, Missouri landfill, and you'll find all kinds of information about it. We've been involved in this for probably a little over a year, and it's gone to proposed legislation at the State House. Every municipality surrounding this, with the exception of Kansas City, has come out opposed to it. But it's actually a Kansas City address. It's right on the county, or the line between Kansas City and Raymore's jurisdictions. If this was in Raymore, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But it has the potential to have a severely negative impact on property values over there. Most people don't want to live next to a landfill. So please be aware, if you're selling in Raymore, that this is a thing and that we need to properly disclose that thing. Then go ahead and stop here. After we talked about those things, we jumped into KV Core. And if we go into KV Core here we go, perfect. It's kind of hard for us to for me to train KV Core via Zoom. And so I'm not going to try to necessarily replicate everything that we did today, but we had a pretty effective KV Core class. Now, a lot of times what I'm teaching of is the practical uses and understanding why people use KV Core and how they would use KV Core. And we definitely jumped into that some today. To me, I think most of us should start our day. I'm going to click the dashboard here. In the dashboard, and the dashboard tells us what's going on. So looking at the dashboard and seeing, for instance, this is Kendra's daughter, and you can see that Kendra's daughter has these little yellow flames. That means she's doing activity that the AI thinks Kendra needs to be paying very close attention to. You need to be looking at that screen, depending on how often you use it, at least once a day. I recommend twice a day, once in the morning for just a few minutes, once in the evening for a few minutes, and asking yourself, am I getting notifications from the AI that there are behaviors that I need to pay attention to, i.e. pick up the phone and call somebody. The next piece we did was we looked at the CRM piece. So come here to your Smart CRM, click My Contacts, and it is important that you know that so many of you still have a lot of garbage that came over from Lead Street. And if you want to clean up that mess, we can help you with that. And as this thing loads here, guys, bear with me. It's going to take a minute to load, I'm sure. I'm using my bandwidth to actually record. There we go. Hopefully it's going to work. I've never actually tried to record and download a huge database at the same time. But it's important that you know that if you're going to get inside of KV Core in here and do some things, for instance, right now, by the way, for those of you who don't know, almost every internet place that you go, the slide left right is down here at the bottom. Inside KV Core, it's up top. So you can see me moving it left, right now. That's one of those ahas that some people had. But if I go all the way to the bottom, you can see that right now there are 56,588 contacts inside of the office's accounts. Your accounts have 56,000 people in them. And there's a lot of that that needs to probably be cleaned up and most likely some of it deleted. So if you went in here, and I'm going to just have a little bit of fun because Janet was somebody we were using. So I type in Janet's name and I click in contact owner, and you can do the same thing and click company. Those are the leads that you cannot personally delete right now. That just means they came in from company websites over the years. And so as they load here in just a few moments, we talked a lot about hashtags and using multiple hashtags. You might have 5 or 6 different hashtag identifiers inside your database. And we did a lot of brainstorming about different hashtags that people were using, some best practices. So you can see now that in Janet's database, 250 people, no, excuse me, 350 people of her 816 are owned by the company, which means she can't delete them, and she may want to delete them. She may want to get rid of some of these people. So what she needs to do is come in here, and this particular lead is here, and you can see that the only hashtag was a lead street sync. If she wants us to delete this person for her because she can't, then she would come in here and type the word delete and press enter. And then if now she's identified this somebody as somebody we want to delete for her, and Amanda can then go in and delete this person. Now I'm going to get rid of that hashtag because I don't know that we want to delete this person, but that's how we would go about identifying somebody to delete. Likewise, if you wanted to have us transfer the ownership back to you from us, and again, this is just one of those weird technical things that happen with thousands of leads that came in from Lead Street, you could come in here and give it the hashtag transfer and hit enter. And then we would know when we see this transfer, again, you have to let us know that you've done this work. Then we can come in here and go to the company. And I'm just going to do this one for fun here. Maybe if it operates properly. And I can say transfer to the agent. So now, instead of being a company-owned lead, that is now Janet's lead, and she can delete it, edit it, whatever she wants to do with it. So if you get into KV Core and you realize there's a whole bunch of these Lead Street leads, they're not owned by you, and you either want to delete them or transfer the ownership to you, please let us know. We have no desire to look at these leads, do anything with them, don't want ownership of them in any way, shape, or form. We want you guys to have that. So again, please feel free to you identify them with the proper hashtags, let us know, and we'll get in there and transfer the ownership or delete whatever might be appropriate for you. Gosh, what else did we talk about inside the KV Core today? We talked about a lot of some of the stuff that Holly's already teaching. So you can see if I click on my contacts right now, that's the entire company. So all those private leads, those are owned by you guys and we can't see them, which is why we want to transfer the ownership of the stuff to you guys. So again, we got to get all those crazy old leads out of there. But let's just say this person here, you can see, has multiple hashtags. So this is somebody that you can clearly see has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different hashtags that we've assigned to them. The more hashtags you assign to a potential client, the better it's going to be. So I'm going to encourage you to come up with a half dozen or so hashtags that you would apply. Some great examples: past client 23. So that is so if, for instance, this person, Jessica, was somebody that was a past client of yours and purchased in 23, those are two different ways we want to identify. You may say, hey, show me everybody that bought a house in 2023. Past client 23 makes sense. Or you may say, I want to see every past client. So at that point, past client also is a identifier for her. And we could put both of those in there as two separate identifiers. Maybe they're your A pluses. Maybe they're your pop buys. Janet talked about identifying people as her mailing list so that everybody that is identified as mailing list, she can pull them up immediately and print mailing labels for. If you need help coming up with your, close this real quick, coming up with your hashtags or figuring out what works for you and helping you organize your database, please reach out to me. Now, over here in the paper airplane on the left, if I click the marketing tab, and I'm sure it's going to take a few minutes, guys. It's just the way this thing is working for me tonight. Yep. At some point here, it's going to move over to all things marketing for me, and I'll be able to look at this marketing tab, and it's still being slow. Okay. When I scroll down through the marketing, I have hashtag management. So if I want to see all the hashtags that I'm using, I can click view my hashtags, and you can see these are the hashtags that I have. So I have 43 hashtags in my account. And I can see, for instance, that the August 23 pass list has 111 people using that hashtag. I can see that I have the December 23 pass list has 22. I can see that imports, these were some people we'd imported and what they have, and I could click on those and it would easily show me who all was in them. If I want to see everybody who passed the Missouri test in 2023 December, I would simply click that and it would bring me up those 22 contacts. And yes, you can mass apply hashtags. So if I went back to, again, I hope this doesn't take forever, but I went back to my contact list here and I had 50 people that I clicked on and identified their name. I could then, let's try it here. Oops, it's going to happen, I think. Then I can come into more actions and say add hashtag, and I could apply that hashtag to everybody that I checked. So you can see if I like checked these 4 people, more actions, and I could say add a hashtag. So I could add any hashtag I want to those 4 people. That ability here to do bulk work, right, is really important. I can transfer contacts, I can share contacts, I can archive, all kinds of things that I can do in a bulk here is part of the tool. Guys, KV Core is a massive tool. We know that. We know that the learning curve is big. We also know that this is the perfect time of year to lean into cleaning up your database and learning this technology. We're starting to see now that everybody in your database that you hope to do business with should be at a minimum getting a market report every 28 days. If they are a person that you've identified as a potential buyer, they should also be getting property alerts. We're now seeing people who came into KV Core through open houses 18, 20 months ago, staying engaged with KV Core this entire time, resurfacing now as we head into 2024, and we're picking up clients that in the past, there's no way we would have converted them because they were too far out when we met them. Typically, real estate agents are amazing at servicing what I call those ready now buyers and sellers. What we're not really great is staying in touch with people who say, I'm going to buy 6, 8, 12 24 months from now. And KV Core is exceptional at that work. As always, guys, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to watch the video. To those of you who came to class today, I hope you found value in it. For those of you who couldn't, please let me know how I can help you. And please, please, please think about signing up for the remainder of Holly's classes. I know that is a lot to learn. It's like anything, the more time you spend doing it, the easier it gets. And you learn from doing. You can't break it, so don't worry about it, guys. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, guys. Thank you very much for your time.